Hey guys, I'm here with the first Battle for Zendikar draft here on the Nitsuhon Magic channel. I'll be doing one every week from here on out until Oath of the Gatewatch comes out. And in this particular draft, as I do with the first draft in every format, one of my subscribers will be receiving all of the cards I draft and any prizes I win, and the winner of that is JD number 2. So if that's you, then congratulations. If not, you can enter next time. Okay, so this is an interesting pack, I think. Seems like the cards are smaller than they usually are. Um, we've got Conduit of Ruin, which I think is a pretty good card just in general. It's a 6 mana 5/5, but it's probably best in a deck where you have something you can search out for it. It makes things cheaper. Complete Disregard is also very good. And I think Deathless Behemoth is a good first pick as well, just because it's, you're not committing to anything, and it's, a 6 mana 6/6 with Vigilance, which is good almost no matter what. So for me, it's between Deathless Behemoth and Conduit of Ruin. I would, Complete Disregard is good, but these two cards don't commit me anywhere, and they're both pretty good. And I'm leaning towards Deathless Behemoth. It doesn't require as much of a commitment as Conduit of Ruin can sometimes require. But it does make all of my spells cheaper in the end. But yeah, I think I'll still take Deathless Behemoth with my first pick here. All right, the rare's missing from this pack, and the images are not all loading. But we have, what do we have here? Nothing that great, to be honest. Eyeless Watcher is okay. Oh, maybe if I blow them up, the art appears. Ulamog's Nullifier and Herald of Kozilek are both good, but I don't want to commit myself to those color combinations. But this pack really doesn't have anything super exciting in it. Chasm Guide's fine, but not exciting. Silent Skimmer is fine, but not exciting, and so is Rush of Ice. I think I'm going to take the Skimmer. It gives, it's a good blocker, and it can do stuff in the air. And we may be in one of the colorless archetypes based on the fact that we have Deathless Behemoth already. So I think that's where I'm going to go. These two are obviously great, but I don't want to commit to those two colors right away. So I'm just going to go with the Skimmer. Okay. Interesting. We've got a Breaker of Armies, which would go well with that Conduit of Ruin, but I doubt it comes back to us. We have an Evolving Wild, which I think is a relatively high pick in this format. I don't like Jotty Offshoot or Scythe Leopard in Limited, although I think they're probably both going to be good in Constructed. We have another Rush of Ice and another Silent Skimmer and Adverse Conditions, which is okay. Not amazing. Geyserfield Stalker is also fine. I'm trying to. For me, it's either Geyserfield Stalker or Silent Skimmer. I think staying black is fine. Territorial Baloth is okay, but not this pack. I don't think is especially strong. None of them, but the first one, really have been. I don't think. So which do I want? I think I'm going to take the Skimmer again. Gives me an evasive threat to help me win the game. And I think that's good. Okay, well, a McKindy's Slide Runner and a Nettle Drone still being around and a Stone Fury still being around means red is absolutely open to my right. Those are all three cards that are first pickable in some packs. The question is whether I want the removal or the extremely efficient landfall creature or the card that goes better with the cards we already have now. Since we have all colorless spells so far. And I think I'm going to go with the Nettle Drone and sort of move into the black-red archetype. The Stone Fury and McKindy Slide Runner are probably going to make someone to our left move into the red archetype. Probably more of a landfall archetype, but if we take this, it's less likely that people to our left are in the black-red, or right, are in the black-red colorless archetype. It's also Benthic Infiltrator, so I could go blue-black, but I think the Nettle Drone's just better than the Infiltrator, so that's what I'm going to take. Okay, now there's a Sheer Drop still floating around, which is pretty nuts, I think. And not a whole lot in our colors. Zilliport Cutthroat could be okay if we get a bunch of ways to make Eldrazi tokens, but I think I'm going to take Sheer Drop. It's just the best card in this pack by a wide margin. Gideon's Reproach is good too, but Sheer Drop's better. I could take Blighted Gorge since we're in red, but I'm not 100% convinced we'll be in red. Sheer Drop's too good for me to pass, I think. We could also go three colors relatively easy in this format. Okay. There's a Ruin Processor, so a big Eldrazi we can ramp into depending on what we end up with, and I think that one's a fine one to do that with. Roiling Earth is mostly a sideboard card. Inspired Charge isn't that exciting. Tightening Coils is probably the best card in this pack. But I think I'm just going to take this Mortuary Mire, help me get back a guy from my graveyard. Seems fine to me. Okay, Geyserfield Stalker now sounds pretty nice. Snapping Gnarlid still being here is kind of crazy, but we'll take the Stalker. Although we could take a Castigator, and maybe we do want that. The earlier drop might be better, but I'm not entirely convinced we'll be in white. But we do have removal in white and not in any other colors. But it's between one of these two for sure. Swarm Surge, Hedron Blade. I mean, Swarm Surge could be good if our deck really ends up staying so colorless, but I'm still not a huge fan of it. I think I'm actually going to take the Castigator here. Gives us some more playables in white if we end up there. Right now we have more playables in white than we do in red, even though we saw that late Nettle Drone and stuff like that. Okay, well there's a Dust Stalker still here, so I'm officially moving into black-red, I would say. If that guy's still around, the black-red colorless archetype is definitely pretty open. He's pretty good no matter what, so yeah, I think we got to go there. And now you can see the art on it too. Dust Stalker is, a rare that made it that far around, and is definitely, in some ways his setback, the downside he has that he bounces to your hand if you don't have a colorless creature in play. It could kind of end up not being a downside, but right now all of our creatures are colorless, so see where that ends up. I'm thinking about taking Processor Assault sort of on speculation, because we may end up with a couple ways. If we end up with enough ways of exiling stuff that's pretty good, I think it's probably better than Calastria Healer. I think we would need a lot more allies already to make that work, so I think I'm just going to take the Processor Assault, which at this point I'm not going to play, but I think it's a good speculative pick. We have another Mortuary Mire, which I think I'll take. Oracle of Dust also isn't bad, but for now I'm going to take the Mire. And now we'll finally take Geyserfield Stalker. There's also an Evolving Wilds, which is pretty good, but we'll just take the Stalker. I think I'm going to take Royal Mage's Trick. I don't really like Doodle for Return that much, but Royal Mage's Trick is probably the best card left in this pack, so I'll just take it away from someone. And I'll take a Volcanic Upheaval, which is a good sideboard card, and another Royal Mage's Trick. Probably shouldn't be around that late. The cool thing about Royal Mage's Trick is that unlike a lot of these effects we've seen lately, you can use it when you're the aggressor and use it to blow out your opponent. I mean, you do have to have 2 colors, it's okay, but with 3 it's probably at its best. So, okay, Planar Outburst is probably far too good for me to pass and is going to maybe make me move back in or find a way to splash white at least. Even though it's double white, it's too strong of a card to pass. There is a Grip of Desolation here, which is of course a very good card and would support our, where did it go? Processor Assault. There's also Complete Disregard, which could support our Processor Assault. And maybe I should try and stick with black-red here. But Planar Outburst is crazy strong, and I think I just have to take it and try to make it work in my deck. Board Sweepers are always very good, so... On the other hand, now we have a bunch of good red cards here. The Hedron Grinder is really only good if you can combo it with, things like Tandem Tactics, which we don't have yet. I think I'm actually going to take Stone Fury here. We need removal pretty badly. Although maybe I should, let's see. There's a Courier Griffin. I could move more into white, but there's also a McKinley Slide Runner. But I think I want the Stone Fury removal spell here. Serpentine Spike is a very big bomb in this format that is clearly underrated here, and I think I'm going to take that as well. It may let me get rid of Planar Outburst. it's not quite as good, but it's a pretty big bomb in the format, and I think that's what I take here. And I think our deck, Planar Outburst would be great to make it work, but if we can't, I think our deck is still pretty strong so far. So, white cards. I don't really want to be taking white cards a whole lot. Outnumber is pretty good. And I think it's probably what I take here. It's another removal spell. It does require you to do some things to make it work, but not a whole lot. Having 1 or 2 creatures in play and being able to do 2 to a creature for 1 is a pretty good deal. So I think I'll take Outnumber. Brood Monitor is really good, but it's a little too late for us to try to move into green or something like that. Another Mortuary Mire wouldn't be bad. There's not really much else for us here. Rush of Ice is a decent card. I think I've mentioned that already. Brood Monitor is definitely the best card left in this pack by a really wide margin, but we're already sort of trying to figure out if we want to have white in our deck or not, and it's not clear that we do. I may just take the 2-drop, the really underwhelming 2-drop. I think 2 Mortuary Mires is enough for me, and I think I'll just take the really unexciting 2-drop. Okay, Core Blade Whirl still here is kind of crazy. To our right, things don't seem nearly as open for us as they did from our left. White and green both look pretty open. And yeah, I mean, I'll probably take Bone Splinters. Running one of it in your deck is usually not a bad idea. Running more is not so good. But I'll take the Bone Splinters. Okay, Valakut Invoker is a fine card. Mire's Malice, you have to think of a lot of these Awaken cards as like a 6-drop. And a 6-drop, 3/3 that makes your opponent discard 2 cards isn't bad. But I think it's more of a sideboard card. I do have a Dominator Drone here, and I think that's probably my pick because I'm in the black-red deck, and a little bit of Ingest can go a long way to making our Processor Assault work a little better. So I think I take the Drone. It's the Valakut Invoker or the Drone for us. And those are maybe the 2 best cards in the pack, although Shadow Glider and Coral Helm Guide and Tajuru War Scout are all playable, but I'll take the Dominator Drone. Okay, I think I'll take a Roiling Earth as a sideboard card since this pack is otherwise unexciting. Yeah, there's another 2-drop, and we do have 1 ally, but Colastria Healer is just not that good. So I'm going to take Boiling Earth. Another Boiling Earth, which isn't a huge surprise. I think I either take Scour from Existence or Voracious Null. The Scour is admittedly expensive, but it does enable any processors we get. And the Null is fine, but not overly exciting. And Scour is colorless, which is relevant for a few of our cards. But we do have Serpentine Spike, which can also exile things, and does it considerably better, I think. So maybe I just take a 3-drop. Yeah, I'll just take the Null. Hopefully I don't have to play him. I don't think he's super great. A Sludge Crawler seems fine, though, here. It's colorless, which is important for our deck so far. So, yeah. I'm going to take a Dampening Pulse away from someone here. Lava Step Raider just isn't good, so don't play it. But the Dampening Pulse is definitely good. And now I think I'll take a Tightening Coils away from someone. Although, do I want Retreat to Hagra? Do I want to try to make this thing work? I think it's best in the Life Gain archetype, but we might end up playing it, so I think I'll take it. And I think Swell of Growth is better than the other. Plated Crusher, yeah, green's a very open color in this draft, I would say. So I don't know that we're going to be able to swing Planar Outburst unless we open up like a couple dual lands here and make that work for us. And this is Renewal, not really the kind of rare you want to be opening. Coastal Discovery is incredibly good, as you probably know. We do have a Kozilek Sentinel, which I think is fine. If this were like pack 1, pick 1, I think it would be Coastal Discovery for sure. But since it's not, and we're not going to be blue, and there's no fixing in this pack, I think I probably just take the Sentinel, who's good in our deck that has, the colorless thing going on. There's another Null, but we don't want that. And a Swarm Surge, could be good, but if we really want it, it'll come back to us. So we'll just take another colorless creature here. Ugin's Insight, huh? That's a fun one. So we either want Sludge Crawler, Blighted Gorge, Sure Strike, or Valakut Invoker. Those are all pretty good cards, I think. The Crawler is a nice 1-drop. The Blighted Gorge doesn't take up a slot in the deck and is a removal spell, which I think is pretty nice. It only produces colorless, which is relevant, but I think it's fine. We have Sure Strike is a good combat trick, but I think I'm actually just going to take the Gorge here. I think the Crawler will come back to us if we really want it. He's another creature with Ingest, by the way, so Processor Assault's looking kind of playable. This draft will be educational for both of us if I try to make it fit into this deck and it doesn't work. Okay. Forerunner of Slaughter is really good. Fire Mantle Mage, also pretty good, but I think I have to take the Forerunner. We just have a lot of synergy with it right now, and it's hard to pass that. Vestige of Emrakul is also would be nice in our deck, but I think I just take the Forerunner here. Another Processor Assault. I don't think our deck could support two of them. It's either Kozilek Sentinel or Dominator Drone. Lots of people passing Dampening Pulse. I think that's a bad idea. I don't need Ingest desperately. And Kozilek Sentinel is just, it can be a good attacker and a good blocker, and I think that flexibility is pretty nice. Dominator Drone, if I could get another one, would be great, but I think the Sentinel is just better in our deck. And there's another Nettle Drone, which is definitely a keystone of this kind of deck for it to be successful, I think, and we'll absolutely take it. It's a very good card. And there's another Dominator Drone, which I was saying I wouldn't mind, but it's once again paired with the Kozilek Sentinel. And I think I once again picked the Kozilek Sentinel over the Dominator Drone. Yeah, we're not going to play Planar Outburst, but JD number 2 will be pretty happy to have a Planar Outburst probably. It's probably going to be a card worth a few tickets. I'm not sure. Let's see what MTGO Trader says it's worth right now. It says half a ticket right now, but I think that's probably going to go up because it's a board sweeper, and some of the others... Did any rotate out, actually? I guess none really did. We still have Crux of Fate and Dune Blast and things like that, although Dune Blast isn't especially playable and constructed, but still. So, like I said, I think we can make Processor Assault work in our deck. I'll have to look at things a little more closely, look at the number of cards we have that exile things, but we have Serpentine, Spike... hopefully don't play that guy. Serpentine, Spike, Sludge Crawler has Ingest, Dominator Drone has Ingest. That's probably not enough, actually. I think we probably need one more thing that exiles stuff, and maybe more to be really satisfied with Processor Assault. So our deck's, basically the aggro Eldrazi deck, which exists in this format. Almost all of our creatures are Eldrazi and are colorless, which is good for our Nettle Drone, or Dominator Drone, or Dust Stalker. And now I think I probably would be comfortable taking the +2/+0 to all colorless creatures card. I think it would be pretty good in this deck. I think we just take I think we probably take Geyserfield Stalker. We probably won't play it. Maybe I just take the rare, because I don't think I would play either Nirkana Assassin or Geyserfield Stalker, and another rare for JD number 2 sounds nice for him. And who knows? I probably won't play it, but because it's pretty mediocre. But I think I don't want a second Geyserfield Stalker that much either. But I might play it. But I'll take the rare for giveaway's sake. Transgress the Mind is a pretty good sideboard card for our deck, and it's probably what I take here. May even be mainboardable in this format. I'm not too sure yet, but that's what we'll take. All right, so we got a Swarm Surge back, and I think it's actually going to be good in our deck. So let's stick it in there. And we will definitely take the Sludge Crawler that came back to us. Gives us more colorless creatures. And we'll take another Volcanic Upheaval for our sideboard. And I'm going to take Dampening Pulse away from somebody, although it doesn't seem like anyone wants to run them. And an Oracle of Dust. And a Salvage Drone. So I think Swarm Surge is going to be pretty great in our deck. I'll have to look at things a little more closely in the deck building phase. And we are short a few cards right now since we have 3 lands in our deck already. But it's looking pretty nice. Bone Splinters, Outnumber. I probably don't want to run Reckless Cohort either, but may have to. But we have a decent amount of removal, and we have one of the bigger bomb removal spells in the format. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything that makes Eldrazi tokens that makes Deathless Behemoth even better. But I think that's probably okay. I think we were right to move into red as soon as we saw that Nettle Drone. That Planar Outburst was tempting, but when you saw Nettle Drone and Dust Stalker late, it was pretty clear this archetype was open. And taking the first pick, Deathless Behemoth, and then Silent Skimmer wasn't a bad start at all. Another Forerunner of Slaughter would be good, but we got both the rare and the uncommon gold cards for this archetype, so we did pretty well, I think. Okay, so group creatures separately. Definitely want more creatures more than anything in this deck. They're almost all colorless right now, other than Geyserfield Stalker. I may have to run Reckless Cohort, even though his downside's always going to be a downside. But I really need more creatures, I think. Although this format, after having played Magic Origins, where it's all about 2-drops, this format's really not as much. So hopefully I didn't get tricked into feeling like this was Magic Origins and take too many 2-drops, because we do have quite a few, but they're all, other than Reckless Cohort, pretty good in this archetype. I think I probably do run Voracious Null, mediocre or not. So I think I'd rather run Voracious Null than the Forerunner. I mean, not the Forerunner, of course not the Forerunner, than the ally that we just had in here. It's like a crappy Nantuko Husk, but, that's okay. And then we need to decide on a couple more spells to put in the deck. Maybe I do mainboard Transgress the Mind to turn on and make it so Processor Assault's more playable. We have, how many cards do we have with Ingest? Sludge Crawler, Dominator Drone. This exiles things, although it's obviously going to happen much later. And Transgress the Mind would give us another one, and maybe it can make Processor Assault playable. But I feel like that's a little bit iffy. I wonder if Volcanic Upheaval is mainboardable in this format. I don't think it is. I think I'll side it in against opponents who have like a lot of either Awaken or or they're multiple colors, and taking them off a color is a really big deal. Really not. Maybe Retreat to Hagra is a better choice. It does make. I think it's probably what I play. It doesn't impact the board immediately, but I'd rather have it. This is an 18-land format, so I only need to figure out one more card to fit in here. And it's not Processor Assault, unfortunately. We didn't end up with enough exile effects. I really don't want to play Transgress the Mind either. Yeah, we definitely missed out on a few playables. Maybe instead of taking the rare I should have taken another Geyserfield Stalker. He probably would have fit pretty well there. I think I am just going to put Transgress the Mind in. Although it doesn't have that much synergy. So maybe not. Maybe I'd just rather have freaking Reckless Cohort. It's mediocre, certainly, but Transgress the Mind doesn't impact the board at all. At least Reckless Cohort does something, even as underwhelming as it is. Transgress the Mind is a sideboard card that may come in, and if I bring it in, maybe I bring in Processor Assault. But I kind of doubt it. Okay, so sort by color. Okay, so definitely more black than red, but we have a lot of double red. Well, not a lot, but 2, and they're both pretty important cards. So, and we already have 2 black sources, so we definitely are running more mountains than swamps. Yeah, more like that, I think. Maybe even less. This gives me 8 black sources. Yeah, I think that's even better. 8 black sources and 9 red sources seems reasonable. So, all right. Well, I think that's our deck here in the first Magic Origins draft that I've done here on the Nitsuhone Magic channel. So thanks for watching. Round 1, 2, and 3 will of course be next. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.